what do you see like the highest ceiling for Skattebo being? Like right now,
so Peyton Hillis, like a Mike Scott.
So the player
type of player.
The player.
It's the IDP show, now you know.
Howdy. Hello, people. My name's Bobby Reynolds. I'm with the IDP show, and this right here to my right is Adam Markham. Welcome in, Addy. How are you, buddy?
Howdy. Hello. How are we?
The IDP show. This is weird. You know, Joshy is in Mexico, and
poor thing.
Yeah, it's a duo pod again.
That's right. Yeah, poor thing. We just saw him on the screen.
Yeah,
right before we got on because we were having some difficulties.
Sure.
Imagine that. Yeah. And yeah, he said it's like 85 degrees there where he's at in Mexico. So not mad at all.
Yeah,
not mad at all.
Yeah, it's 85 degrees there, and it's either 8 or 5 degrees here in Bowling Green. But hey, I'm not complaining. Lots of our friends, Kyle B, a lot of the Northerners, you know.
Yeah.
Weather I can't fathom.
Yeah, no chance I could ever do that.
You know, we touch it a little negative wind chill every once in a while, but I can't deal with just like negative temperatures.
No.
You know.
I'll never leave the South. No,
yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I agree. Well, welcome in to the IDP show. If you're new, thanks for jumping in here. If you're not new, welcome back. We're glad to have you. Me and Adam are going to sit here for the next hour or so. Let's call it an hour and a half. And we're going to do a 3-round rookie mock of the 2025 rookies, offense and IDP. It is going to be just one QB. That's what our main league is. It's going to be Big 3 scoring. Adam, I'm excited for this. Both you and I have a lot of firsts in this next year's draft. I'm excited to kind of see where your head is at. What are you thinking? Going into your drafts? Any before we get this off and kind of start and talk about who we've actually selected and everything. What are you thinking going into the 2025 draft?
Yeah, right now just trying to get familiar with all the players. Been watching some tape. Just like to see how these guys move. Always looking at the stats, of course. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just trying to see what everyone else thinks of it. Of these guys, like a lot of the experts we follow, like Daniel Jeremiah, Dane Brugler. Mm-hmm. Always checking out whatever they're putting out as far as like mock drafts and draft stuff goes. So just learning a lot right now.
Yeah. What do you weigh the most, tape or stats?
I'm a big stat guy.
Yeah.
So I lean on that quite a bit especially when it comes to like the defensive side of the ball. Yeah. I feel like it's a little more sticky. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I care about, both sides, of course.
Yeah. Offensively, you want to see that they've done it. You want to see a good breakout age. You want to see, lots of yards, lots of touchdowns for your running backs. Yeah. But I agree with you, especially on the defensive side of the ball. For those linebackers, I want to see some tackles. For those defensive ends, I want to see some sacks.
Yeah,
the Odafe Owe types get a little bit scary when we're just looking at the metrics, and when we're just looking at them in underwear in Indianapolis, it's a little hard to draft them based off of what they do if they haven't done anything over 3 or 4 yeyears at their university. So
yep, yeah, we got a lot of data that backs that up too. That these guys that are elite assets for us in IDP and also in on the offensive side, like they were really good in college. They put up great stats in college. They did it usually immediately. So that stuff matters. So we're definitely looking for that stuff in this class as well.
Yeah, and this draft is going to be really interesting because I feel like we're going to talk about it tonight, and I feel like we could probably draft again tomorrow, and it's going to be different than what we talk about tonight.
Yeah, and
so the combine can happen. The NFL draft can happen, and to be honest with you, I feel like this year is going to have a wide array of ADP for a lot of these rookies. You're going to have some drafts where Judkins goes high. You're going to have some drafts where Omarion Hampton goes high. You're going to have some IDP drafts where Abdul Carter makes it way up into the first. I just feel like there's not going to be any status quo this year. I feel like it's basically like, who's your guy? Who do you really like at whatever spot you're in the draft? That's who you need to pick. And don't go based off of, based off of your data. Go based off of, what you feel like is best for your team. Don't necessarily go based off of, well, I saw in this other draft, this guy was going around the 107, so that's probably who I should take. I've been caught doing that before, and it's kind of failed me. Shout out Traylon Burks.
Yeah, there's always some landmines like that. But yeah, I think for the most part with this type of draft, this year especially, don't be afraid to cash out if someone's wanting to come up and overpay for their guy. Like I'm okay, like still getting some capital in this class because it is a deep class. But if you can get some like future first and stuff like that, like this is a pretty good class to do it.
Agree with you. Make a little profit, trade back if you can. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start. And it's kind of interesting because in the XFL you have the first, but tonight I'm going to start off with the 101, and of course I'm going Ashton Jeanty. So here's the question, Addy. Is there anybody else other than Jeanty that's going to be our 101? Is there anything that can happen in the NFL draft that is going to say anything any different?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, if you're in an IDP league and like Travis Hunter is going to be listed as a cornerback, I think like it could be a thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you believe that Hunter's going to get a lot of offensive usage.
Yeah.
And play a lot of wide receiver snaps.
Yep.
Which I think he's too damn good not to.
Let's go ahead and get to the second pick here because the second pick, Adam, you're with the 102.
102, and again, this is one quarterback, but also full IDP.
Yep.
So for us, that means two cornerbacks, usually two safeties, three linebackers, two edge rushers, and like a defensive tackle and a flex.
Cornerback's still super valuable.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm going Travis Hunter here.
Yeah.
Just an absolute freak. Like I'm just every time I watch him, I'm just so impressed with him. Like I think he is probably the best receiver in this class. Like the dude just has everything. He's just like a natural mover. Plucks the ball out of the air, always open. Like goes up and gets it. Like really good leaper. I think he'll get better as a route runner too. I think he's awesome as a receiver, and then as a cornerback, same thing. He's like just a different type of cornerback. The way he's able to attack the ball, and I think he's not going to be someone that gets us a lot of tackles defensively.
Yeah,
but he'll get a lot of PDs. He'll get some interceptions, and potentially take those to the house as well. So. Whatever he does IDP wise is just gravy. Like I think this guy is just so good as a receiver that, and also he's going to be on a team that is bad offensively.
Yep.
So I mean, he's going to be. I'd have to think he's going to be like the best offensive piece that any of these teams drafted in the top would have. And so there's also just this pressure with when you draft a guy like Travis Hunter that does both and has done both. There's this pressure on a team that you need to utilize them the right way too, right?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of pressure on a team, on an organization. So
especially on a bad team.
Yes, exactly. Like if this team, is terrible and the offense looks bad, like media, fans, it's going to be annoying, like very annoying. And that's not going to stop with Travis Hunter. I think this is going to be like an ongoing thing with him. Like, yes, he's testing with the corners of the combine. That doesn't mean anything about his offensive usage.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's going to be a thing that I think we have to monitor his entire career. I think that he could, he's going to start out as a cornerback, play full time. But I mean, that's a hard position, and like that position doesn't always age well. So I think there's a world where like he could be, starting as a cornerback and moonlighting as a receiver. But I think at some point in his career, he could just do one.
Yep.
And I think it would be wide receiver at that point.
I have lots of thoughts. You're right, Travis Hunter, 2024 season at Colorado, almost 1,300 yards, 96 receptions, 15 touchdowns. In his 2 seasons at Colorado, receiving 153 receptions, almost 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns.
Yeah. Sign me up.
I get Colorado. I get that it's not the SEC. I understand that whole narrative and everything, but lots of dudes that I follow on Twitter. There's one specifically I can't think of right now. Basically said a couple months ago when watching Travis Hunter's tape that he's not really sure that he could tell a big difference between him and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
the route running is a little similar. It's a little similar. Like I'm not trying to say that this guy's going to come in the league as JJ. Like very few can, but.
That upside is there.
It is. And so to kind of get to the narrative that there's lots of arguments in the IDP world, and there's lots of arguments outside of the IDP world with Travis Hunter and how he's going to be classified and what is he going to be in your league. Like, where are you going to be able to start him?
What are they going to say on draft night? What are they going to call him out as?
So exactly,
who cares? So it won't matter, guys.
Specifically, the reason why you and I also are saying Travis Hunter is so valuable is because there's a world where he comes into the NFL and comes into your IDP league as a cornerback. So let's just say week 1, you're starting. Give me a good corner right now this next season, Addy. Brian Branch. You're starting Brian Branch as a corner.
Witham Spoon.
Let's also Kenny Moore, okay? And then let's also say you're starting Travis Hunter, okay? And let's say that he plays a little defense. Let's say he gets 30 snaps a game on defense. But let's also say that he's a wide receiver, and you're getting wide receiving points in your cornerback position.
Yeah.
That's something that we have never seen in IDP.
And like the potentially like a target hog in the offense.
Yes.
Like the offense is funneled through him.
Do you get the vibe that Hunter defensively is kind of a little bit like Trayvon Diggs when his rookie season? Kind of ball hawkish, a lot of picks.
Yeah.
I don't think Hunter is just going to be this lockdown outside Darrelle Revis type corner.
Yeah, me neither. I don't see that.
I also don't see him really moving to the slot or like being in the box very much, but I do see him being targeted.
Yeah. He'll get tested early on.
So,
but I just think it's a tougher position to play.
Yeah.
I think there will come a point in Hunter's career where he does choose.
So that was another thing I was going to say. I do feel like in the first couple years of Travis Hunter's career, if you don't draft Travis Hunter, there may be a time frame where you can go and trade for him. There may be a world where, like, all of a sudden, if he's getting more cornerback play than the drafter realized in the beginning or was hoping for more offensive production, there may be a world where after year 1 you're like, hey, what if I just slide in here and grab Travis Hunter from you? Because I'm with you. Just because he plays one way at the beginning does not necessarily that is what is going to be the career trajectory for him.
Yeah. Yeah, and also understand there's a chance that you may not be able to get this guy at all.
For sure.
Like if he starts out, red hot, like
balls.
It's over.
Yeah.
He's
he's
like a top
game wrecker.
Yeah, he'll be like a top, 12 pick in startups and stuff.
So I've got 2 questions here, and it'll lead into the next selection. But Hunter can't trump Jeanty at 1 in any world.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's getting a little cute.
Yeah. I agree.
Just
Hunter,
get Ashton.
Jeanty, the metrics are insane. The numbers are insane. Is he testing?
Insane. I don't know.
He'd be wise not to.
No reason to, really.
Where's he going? Dallas?
I think he's going to go pretty early.
Okay.
I could see him going like...
Dallas is at 12.
Someone will take him inside the top 15, I think.
I wonder where the Bears are. I think I had seen the Bears were interested in him.
That would be cool.
Potentially the Raiders also.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I think the this is everyone's take, but I think the Bears are going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Oh, Ben
Kaleb
Johnson.
And Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
If they got Ashton, that would be ridiculous.
Yeah. That'd be pretty
If
scary.
any team gets, he's going to, anywhere he goes is going to be a great landing spot.
I agree. So let's get to the next pick. The next pick here at the 103, I take Tetairoa McMillan. So the question that I have for you here is that, is it worth taking the risk on Hunter at 2 and letting somebody settle for Tet at 3? Because Tet, metrically speaking, watching his tape, 3,400 yards at Arizona. What did he have? 26 total touchdowns. So Tet is awesome. Tet, the highlights are crazy. Even like the short little reels and stuff where you see him doing the, one-handed, under the legs. That kind of stuff is, things that I can't fathom at age 37. But it's just like with looking how locked and loaded he is it worth the risk of taking Hunter at 2 to skip on Tet?
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, that's the safer move, of course.
Yeah.
If you're scared, little boy or girl,
sure,
that's the move you'll make.
Sure.
But, he's good. He's good. But a lot of the highlights that I was watching of him, he is going up against like these guys from like Northern Illinois,
for sure,
and, like these these crappy schools.
Yeah.
And also like like some of these games were like lopsided, like they were getting blown out, and like you know, I noticed that was heavy in a lot of these big balls that he was getting and stuff. Now he's an awesome player. Like he don't
For
get
sure.
me wrong. I'm a fan. I am a fan.
But I agree.
But there are some things that you are like they're a little worried about. I mean, he's not like perfect or anything. Like, but I think he's going to be fine. Like I think he's going to be a good receiver at the next level. He's getting comped to Drake London a lot. Mike Evans, like but that's going to be like a Hall of Famer. So he's a tough comp.
Yeah.
But any of those big receivers, AJ Green is one I've seen for Tet.
Okay.
Which, you know,
That's a weird one.
I love AJ Green, but just that body type, right? I think in the right offense, he could be very, very good.
It is weird. The first three players are Boise State, Colorado, Arizona.
That is funny.
You know, no SEC, no ACC, no Big Ten. You know, just out there. But I'm with you. That's a little worrisome. You know, the separation on the line of scrimmage is a little bit lacking in my opinion. And I'm with you. You know, the downfield stuff is cool, but you got to get downfield in the NFL. The NFL press coverage is a whole lot harder than
Your safeties are a lot better.
Absolutely.
You know.
So anyways, yeah, Ted at 3.
I feel like, but that's the story of like, you know, most of this class. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
Ted probably has the fewest question marks. Ted and Hunter.
Yeah.
But all these guys are like, you know, like I could see him being bust too.
I feel like we got the first 3 right. Deep down, I feel like we can talk about this a month from now, and I feel like we're still going to be Hunter's wide receiving attributes are better than Ted's. So is it a gamble? Yes. Are you scared? You can let us know. Adam, 104, where do you go here?
I'm going Omarion Hampton here out of UNC. 6 foot, 220 pounds. That's a theme with a lot of these running backs in this class. Good size on a lot of these dudes.
Absolutely.
A lot of like 6 foot, 6'1", you know, 215 plus. But yeah, and you know, one of the better running backs, one of my favorite running backs, Omarion Hampton, doesn't do anything too flashy. You know, just like a one cut. You know, get after it. No nonsense.
North south.
Yeah, pretty much like a DeMarco Murray type.
Yep.
You know, that's what I've seen him comped as. But super productive at UNC. 1,600 rushing yards last season, 15 touchdowns, 1,500 rushing yards, 15 touchdowns the season before that. So I mean, really really nice stats. PFF wise, tore it up. Yeah, big fan. I think that he's going to get probably second round draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna probably land in a good situation. He'll be the lead back wherever he is. I'd imagine. So yeah, I think you're gonna see him pretty much inside the top 6 in most 1 QB leagues.
It seems like after Jeanty, Omarion is just the best all around running back. You know, you have these other ones that have kind of skills. They kind of have little flashes, but it seems like Hampton. You're exactly right. I think 6'1", 6 foot. I don't know what he's probably going to come in at 6 foot, but 6 foot 220, 21.8 years old, ranks second in yards after contact with 1,200 yards, and 4.35 yards after contact per attempt. So, yeah, man, I love Hampton. I love Hampton's tape. I love the way that he runs. I love the 73 receptions over 3 years at UNC. And PPR, which is what most people play these days, Hampton is pretty desirable, and I think we're ahead of schedule here. I don't feel like standard rookie mocks have Hampton right now at the 104, so good pick by you, Addy. But after the combine and Hampton tests really well and looks really fluid, I feel like that stock's just going to rise.
Yeah, that draft capital I think is going to help him quite a bit too.
For sure.
I think he got mocked inside the first round in Jeremiah's last month.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember where he went.
I do remember he went to the Chargers.
That would be lovely.
Yep. So he had Jeanty going to the Steelers, and then the next pick was Hampton right there to the Chargers. So that's really interesting that Jeanty and Hampton are both, a pick apart in DJ's mock. DJ, pay attention to DJ.
Yeah,
he knows things. He knows things.
But Hampton could land with my Vikings. Like that would be an awesome fit.
Your Vikings need a little help at the old running back
I
position.
imagine we're going to take a running back or two in this draft.
Okay, let's get to the next pick here. So with the 105, I take Quinshon Judkins, running back out of Ohio State, 6 foot 219, so very similar body type to Hampton. First 2 years at Ole Miss, and then played last year, obviously, at the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. He had 194 attempts last year, almost 1,100 yards, 14 touchdowns. But listen to the 3 years for Judkins. 3,785 total yards in 3 seasons, 45 touchdowns, 59 receptions, 442 yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns. So, kind of Adam, like we were talking about, we want to look at the tape. We want to see the fluidity. We want to see the size. We want to see the RAS. We want to see the metrics. We also want to see the stats. Quinshon Judkins' stats are just like Omarion Hampton's. 45 touchdowns in 3 seasons is pretty freaking crazy.
Yeah. This is another 6 foot 220 guy. I mean, this is probably a little hot takey. You don't see him. You know, you took him over some
for sure.
Dude, I'm about to take, but
for sure,
this is like a flag plant type.
I like Judkins.
Or you're blowing smoke.
Yeah, for you to determine. Good luck. You're exactly right. This is a little higher than probably, standard ADP at this point. ADP probably got Judkins around the 108, 109 range, but Judkins is kind of my guy. I love the way that he runs. I love his receiving abilities. I love kind of the big play. He can finish a run and actually house it. I love that in a running back. Like, it says something about, Kaleb Johnson is great. He doesn't really house a whole lot. He doesn't really have kind of that housing speed. I love that sometimes in a running back. Ashton Jeanty's got that. Jeanty gets ahead of a linebacker, makes one safety miss. You're not catching him. That dude is going to put it in the house. I feel like Judkins is a lot like that. So it's a little hot takey, but hey, I'm here for it.
I mean, 1,500 yards as a freshman at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
That's
pretty nice.
Pretty nice. And then, yeah, you're right. He's a good catcher of the ball. 59 receptions in 3 years. So, yeah, I like the pick.
So, for Judkins, we will say.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to use the board more. I keep forgetting we have the board. All right, Addy, 106. Where did you go?
I'm going Kaleb Johnson here.
Yeah.
Running back out of Iowa, 6 foot 225. Again, love the size of these boys.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, another guy that we was productive as a freshman, 779 yards, 6 touchdowns, and then kind of fell off. But I think he was in a really, really, really bad offense that second year there for him. And then third year, tore it up. 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns, 22 catches, 188 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had 31% of his team's total yards. That was second only to Ashton Jeanty. Didn't fumble once last year. 4th in the country in yards after contact, 26.8% career broken tackle rate. So shout out Kyborg for those little stats right there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Kaleb Johnson, going to get good draft capital. 2nd round, I'd have to imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're right. He doesn't have a lot of things that are going to wow you, but the dude's got pretty good burst.
Yep.
And then first tackler is usually not going to get him.
Nope.
So that'll play in the NFL. He did run behind a really good line there at Iowa. There's like a lot of runs of his that like he's got like a 10-yard head start and like no one's near him. Like, well, I could maybe do this. But no, I think he's going to be good. I think he's got the traits that you want in a running back. Again, the size, enough speed. Like he'll be a good asset for a team. And if he gets that, 2nd round, early 3rd at worst, I'd have to imagine draft capital. That'll be good.
I think the thing that I'm paying attention to most is we're talking about Travis Hunter's going to go to a bad team. He's going to play potentially a lot of offensive and defensive snaps because the Giants are going to need him to. But I really hope Kaleb Johnson goes to a good team. I would love to see, Jeanty to the Cowboys. Sounds really fun. But the Cowboys will probably select a lineman or something in the first draft. I think Osi Odigizua is wow, I messed it up. I normally flow through that. I think Osa is a free agent this offseason, so they might be I think DJ's mock had a defensive tackle comp to them in the first round. But let's just say the Cowboys maybe get a guy like Kaleb Johnson in the 2nd. That would be really, really nice. Send him to a team with some good offensive linemen, make some big holes for him. Because I'm with you. He's not super fast, but he's really efficient.
Yeah.
Kaleb Johnson, this is a shout-out Wrangler player profiler. I saw this today. A 48.9% dominator rating for Kaleb Johnson is in the 99th percentile of college athletes.
Let's go, Ringler.
99th percentile. That kind of made me chuckle a little bit. But
if he's someone that comes out and does well at the combine, which maybe not a lot of people are expecting, like that could be really good for his stock. So.
Absolutely. Production was great too. 2,700 yards over 3 seasons, 30 touchdowns. We love to see it. Not a huge catcher of the ball, but really efficient runner. Was that your selection? It was. Okay, so at the
106.
At the 107, another little flag plenty thing. This is whatever. I don't know. It's early. It's February. We got time to talk about this stuff.
I think this is good right here.
Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver for Ohio State. Egbuka is 6'1", 205. I just really love Emeka. I really just like the way this guy plays. Probably the college football playoffs swayed me a little bit. I feel like he performed really well down the stretch for Ohio State. But not only is the tape there for Emeka, but the production is there also. 2,800 yards in 4 seasons at Ohio State. I think that's 2,800. There's a little blip of, I think that's SpaghettiOs on my iPad from my boy.
It happens.
Shout out, Bub. I think it's 2,800 yards and 24 touchdowns in 4 seasons at Ohio State. So I just like Emeka. I think he's kind of similar to like Kaleb Johnson. He's not really going to wow you. He's not going to burn you. But to be honest with you, I've been kind of scared off of these burner types these last couple years. When you've got a John Ross, when you've got a Xavier Worthy, when you've got an Adonai Mitchell that comes to the combine and runs a 4.2 something, the odds of them working out in the NFL are just not that great versus a guy like Emeka who is going to learn how to read an NFL defense, learn how to help a quarterback, sit down in the zone, has great hands, has a really strong body. I feel like Emeka is just a really nice, solid, I don't know who to, I think I comped him to maybe like a Michael Pittman in the Kai Borg episode. He just feels like not super flashy. He's not going to be like a Drake London or anything, but he's just going to be a solid wide receiver for 8 years in the NFL.
Yeah, I like him quite a bit. I think he's best route runner probably in the class.
Wow.
He's good. I mean, he's
like
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, I like that. I think he could be like a Keenan Allen type. Potentially, that could be like his ceiling.
Keenan great in zone.
Yeah, so, yeah, I think this is a worthy spot here. That's about where I'm seeing him go, you know.
Okay.
He's going in the first round, usually like wide receiver 2 or 3.
Are you not seeing Burden go ahead of him?
Usually.
Okay.
But they're like right
the
next
same
to each
range.
other. Yeah.
I gotcha.
And I think that's going to be like a flip. Like, I think people.
What do you like?
Yeah, and like if it'll be whoever gets the best draft capital, I bet of those two.
Probably. In February, it's a little bit difficult, but after the draft, it'll probably be a little bit more clear.
Burden worries me a little more than Emeka.
100%.
Emeka feels a lot safer. Although, like, the upside with Emeka is probably not, that great. Where Burden, it could,
You're exactly right. Floor's higher for Emeka. Ceiling's definitely higher for Luther Burden.
I think so.
But there's a chance with Burden you can definitely get burned. Addy, I don't think this next guy's going to burn us, and I wish Josh was here to hear you selecting this guy at 108, but let's hear it.
Yeah, Tyler Warren burst onto the scene his final year. 104 catches, 1,233 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah, he is 6'6", 257. Getting comped to Dallas Clark. Josh would love that.
Oh, 44.
Yeah. Also, shout out Football Guys. They put together
Yeah.
a really nice little draft guide this year. We were using it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's projected first-round draft capital. I don't think he's going to get to the second round.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Everywhere I'm seeing, like, he's like a top 15 pick. A late bloomer. Didn't really, the season before he put up 422 yards and 7 touchdowns, and then 123 as a sophomore. So it really just came onto the scene this final year.
Mm-hmm.
But getting some Gronk comps too. I've seen that.
Oh, really?
I guess that's the higher end of the comps. But yeah, I think he's a hell of a blocker. Not like the best athlete. Like the other corners that we're going to mention, or the other tight ends that we're going to mention, are probably better athletes
For sure.
But
Sometimes that's not always a good thing.
yeah, like a George Kittle.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Kyle Pitts,
Right.
Freak
Sure.
athlete coming in. And we're just still hoping for that breakout.
I mean, like George Kittle isn't good. That's what Tyler Warren kind of is to me.
Ohio. Oh,
Yeah.
no, wait. We're not talking about that guy. Yeah. Sorry, Penn State. My bad. Isn't there an Ohio State tight end that's coming out right this year? Not Ohio State, Iowa. I mess up those states a lot. You do that in your head? Ohio, Iowa. You ever been to Iowa?
Never. Shout out Arms.
Hey, guys. Somebody call 911. I don't feel so good.
Oh, man. Tyler Warren, he does feel like the tight end of this class that's, like, not going to come off the field.
Right.
You know, like, Fannin, it looks really fun. Like, his highlights are pretty crazy. Colston also looks insane as well. But Tyler Warren just looks like the guy who, you're right, Addy, he's going to be the best blocker of the group, has really, really good hands. He's not going to test the best. He's not going to have the craziest rasp, but sometimes you don't want that.
Going to be a locker room leader. They're going to love him. He's going to work his ass off. You know that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he's going to be a red zone threat. And we'll see if he can, 104 catches. That's impressive.
That is. That's really impressive. Okay, let's move on. The 109 here, Luther Burden. I went for it. I don't know. I still don't love Luther Burden. This is kind of one of those, well, he's fallen, so I probably need to take him type selections. Wide receiver out of Missouri. He came out as a junior here. Right? No. I can't read that either, Addy. You're going to have to find that one for me. 5'11", 208 pounds. Burden there, 2,200 receiving yards, 21 touchdowns. I don't know what it is about Burden. I just don't love him. He's just kind of not my favorite.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like my feeling about most of these receivers. I mean, you've heard it a lot. This is a class that's dominated by the running back.
Yeah.
And so I think there's going to be a lot of like you trying to talk yourself into these receivers when it's really just like, man, just take these running backs.
Yeah.
If you have the opportunity to just take a running back, I think do it. One of the high end running backs at least.
Does it make
the
you,
ones that get second round capital and higher?
Does it make you not want to at some point draft a running back though? Does it make you feel like, well, I could grab some later on in the second round of my rookie drafts. I'm just going to go ahead and get the best of the wide receivers, because the wide receiver cliff after Luther Burden to me is like pretty far.
Yeah. It'll. And then, like, you have the option, like, in IDP leagues, like, do I just go IDP here?
Correct.
Yeah. So
or tight end. You went tight end.
Yeah. It's a weird mix for me, man. I don't know. We need the draft. We need the combine.
Yeah.
Because this is I think opinions going to be all over the place for these guys. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be a lot of people moving up and down.
Yeah, Burden could be a second-round pick if he doesn't get draft capital. He could be a top 5 pick in here if all of a sudden a team just falls in love with him and he's like a Xavier Worthy, gets I don't think he's going to be a first-rounder, but, I mean, maybe.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
But there's certainly, there's going to be landmines he has to navigate.
He's one of the guys that I feel like I really need help with the NFL. The NFL really needs to tell me how they value a guy like Luther Burden. Addy, the 110 here, where'd you go?
I went with TreVeyon Henderson.
Yeah,
I was pretty.
It's a pretty far fall.
I was pretty pleased to get him here. I don't think you're going to see that much, but yeah. I mean, talk about players that just come out of the gate strong. Yep. He did 1,248 yards rushing, 15 touchdowns, 27 catches, 312 yards receiving as a freshman at Ohio State. That was when C.J. Stroud was there. So offense was not as good after he left, of course. So, yeah, I think that's encouraging, like to see someone, play that well that early at a school like that. And then, he did good his senior year as well, like 16 games, 144 carries for 1,016 yards and 10 touchdowns. And then, again, catching the ball pretty well, 27 catches for 284. And then he's sharing the backfield with Judkins. So
yep.
Yeah, he's gonna be inside everyone's top 5. I would think he got mocked inside the first round today by Daniel Jeremiah.
Yeah, I saw that.
To the Vikings.
Yep, I saw that too. How would that make you feel?
I don't really want him there.
Yeah.
I want Ashton.
Yeah.
That's who I want.
Yeah.
I want us to go up and get Ashton.
Then the 101 in the XFL is for sure locked in, without a doubt. You just get the jersey.
Oh, my God. That would be so cool.
Jeanty and Jefferson.
Be my year.
And catching balls from J.J. McCarthy. Maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
That's going to be interesting to see what y'all do. Yeah, I like Henderson. He's a pretty complete running back, kind of a natural pass catcher. I think he really excels at making defenders miss in space. TreVeyon Henderson's ADP right now is really more closer to like the 105 range, probably more in like where I took Judkins.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say he's over top of Judkins right now?
I think that's how most people view it.
A little bit more efficient, probably a better all-around running back, even though it's kind of like the Emeka Egbuka and Luther Burden kind of comp to where, like, I feel like TreVeyon is safer, but I feel like Judkins has higher upside. I don't know if you feel that way. I definitely do, especially with kind of the pass rush metrics there for Judkins. But
Justin he's got the better size.
Yeah.
Judkins, Henderson's is a little undersized, 5'10", 208.
Yeah, we hate that.
But I mean, the receiving upside's really nice there. I mean, 77 catches for 853.
Yeah, he caught more balls than I thought he did.
Yeah, I like it.
I like Henderson. Yeah, we're
I like all these running backs.
Yeah, it's kind of
that's what it's like. I don't know that I want to wait. I think like that waiting on we're going to talk ourselves into a lot of these guys in the mid rounds.
We haven't hit the cliff yet. We haven't.
Yeah.
We're close. We're close.
But I really like these first round running backs.
We've gone Jeanty, we've gone Judkins, we've gone Johnson, we have gone TreVeyon Henderson, we've gone Omarion Hampton. That's it so far. We've got 5 of the first 110 were running backs.
Yep.
1 tight end, and the rest have been wide receivers. So at the 111, of course, I go Abdul Carter. The reason that you tuned in here today.
That's right.
Addy, I love Abdul Carter. Tell me if you love Abdul Carter here at the 111.
I do. I think it's a great spot. I think it's one of those picks that you look back on and be like, I'm glad I did that.
Yeah.
Maybe not the sexiest fill-in in the world.
Agreed.
But yeah, he feels like a locked and loaded, like already like top 12 edge rusher in the NFL.
Do you want to know what gave me a little chills this week, a little shiver? DJ mocking Abdul Carter at the 101 in the NFL draft. Kind of gave me a little spine tingle.
Tighten up.
I don't think that's what's going to happen. And Josh would just throw a fit here about how the first 3 or 4 picks are going to be quarterbacks. They're not going to be defensive players. And he's probably right. But the fact that DJ thinks that potentially Abdul Carter is the best player, in the draft, that says a lot to me, man. And the fact that you could potentially get that at 111, could you be drafting a Will Anderson at 111?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
It feels kind of like that to me.
He was slept on, too, in his class,
Yeah.
You get him like early second in a lot of leagues.
Yep.
But yeah, I think Carter's going to be the same type of deal. Like I think you'll be able to get him like in the early second.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's going to hang around a little while. I wanted to go to, for a minute, the IDPshow.com. I'm getting in the dynasty ranks real quick. I just kind of want to do a little digging.
He's already in there.
Make sure you sub. Get into Adam's dynasty ranks. Abdul Carter is waving at me here as the edge 8. In between Dallas Turner, the edge 9, and Myles Garrett, the edge 7.
And folks, those rookies have been in there for
hot minute,
month and a half now.
Yeah,
So.
But you've been tinkering a little bit.
We update weekly. It's a weekly thing that never stops. I should probably. Yeah, that's right. I should probably promote it more.
You should.
But
They're
I'm too
insane.
damn busy updating every week.
If you're listening to this podcast and you have not subbed to the dynasty ranks, if for anything, just to pay the monthly subscription, get in and take a look, and then get out. That's fine. You do you. When you get in, you ain't going to want to get back out.
I don't think so. And also, it's not just dynasty ranks now. Now, this time of year, we got best ball ranks in there. Those are updated. We got like a top 300 already in there.
We see y'all in there.
That's for 2025.
We see you in there.
Eric. We got rookie ranks going in there now.
Yeah.
Where those are constantly being built. And that'll be the case for the next, until rookie drafts start.
Yep.
And then, just data, logs, everything you can need. You get it all. And it's a good bargain.
Absolutely.
$5 a month. Come on.
Articles are spicy right now. Wohlert just came out with an all-22 article of all the linebackers in that you need to know about in IDP for this year. It's an insane article if you hadn't read it. Also, I don't even know, like, technology, I wasn't blessed with it. All right, so, call Josh. But the way that he was able to put in the moving videos of the all-22 in the article just
blowing our minds.
Mind blown. The next mind blown here was mine when I saw who Adam took here at the 112. Addy blessed me with it.
surprise blown or
surprise blown? Not really. I mean, I've kind of seen the hype here lately. I've seen some of the tape, so I'm a fan. But I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised. I think this is a great range for him.
Yeah. He just seemed like a solid receiver. Like I don't think he's going to be like he's probably too small to really dominate too much.
Maybe
But
6 foot, 195.
Could be like
Jordan Addison
type, Braden Cooks,
Devonta Smith.
Sure, that'd be fine. And he's got great speed. But he's getting, projected in the first round these days.
Yeah.
I think Jeremiah had him 20
right after
late 20s.
Right after Hampton and Jeanty.
So if that holds up, dude, I mean, we're going to see this guy, get drafted in the first round.
How much do you think that like NFL execs are reading DJ's mock and being like, "Hey guys, have y'all looked up this Golden guy?"
I'd say most of these scouts, because these teams, they have scout teams.
Yeah, like they clearly know who he is, but like, do you think that some of them probably didn't have Golden anywhere in that range? And it made them probably double take a little bit to where it's like, we need to dig in on this guy a little bit more.
Yeah, that's definitely how that stuff works, I'd say.
I would think so.
It's a bunch of dudes looking for all the info they can get and different perspectives.
Yeah.
And they definitely tune into people like Brugler and Jeremiah and Mel Kiper and those guys have been doing it for a long time. Like their opinions, it holds weight. So I've always been interested in what they think.
For sure.
That's most of the people that are giving takes in the fantasy world. They're just parroting what those guys are writing and saying. And that's it's they're the best. That's why it happens. So
yeah, and that's the other thing too that gets a little bit annoying this time of year. Like everybody said, we watch tape. Look at whatever. I don't do this for a living. You don't do this for a living, So I don't know. I kind of get irritated on the old X these days.
Willard's watching the tape. Literally, he's watching the All-22 right now.
Willard knows what he's doing. I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
Yeah,
I just know who I like. But I don't know. I just kind of get irritated this time of year when people are just like, "Well, I've been really studying the tape." It's like, no, you haven't.
Yeah, a lot of people like to make this part of the year like about themselves. So
love
that.
Let's make this about Matthew Golden, man. This ain't about you. But no, I love Golden. I think he could be a sneaky little if he falls to your 112, I could even see a world where really like the ADP gets above Luther Burden potentially. Because Burden's stock's kind of down a little bit right now, and we'll see after the combine and everything what these guys look like. I love the gauntlet drill there for the wide receivers. You can really, I don't know, I feel like I can learn a lot about a guy and how he catches the ball and get the hands away from his body and everything. What's his route running look like? I don't know. Golden sounds like a good little spot here at 112.
Yeah, I think you're right though about him and like players like him and Burden could swap spots. Like I think it'll depend on capital really.
Maybe even Emeka. Like Emeka could fall a little bit and Golden gets the ADP, and then everybody's kind of scratching their head a little bit. You might end up taking Golden there. All right, let's roll over here to the 201, and I kind of want to know your opinion on this one too here, Addy, because I think this guy could maybe sneak into the first in some drafts. I took Cam Skattebo, running back there for Arizona State, 5'11", 215. Hey, I'm a Skattebo fan, man. I think that the production is great. He had 293 attempts in 2024. 1,700 yards, 21 touchdowns, 45 receptions, 605 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. What are we missing here with Cam Skattebo? Why is this guy not being drafted in the first round?
No, I was a little sick you took him. I went Golden. I went Golden because I was like, man, I can't just keep taking all the running backs.
Sure.
I think I had 3 or 4 in the first round.
Sure.
But I wish I would have taken one more.
This is very on brand. You're grabbing the running backs. I'm over here sticking to the wide receivers.
Yeah. I wish I would have taken one more though. I love me some Skattebo. I think he's just gonna be like a great piece for some team to have.
Yeah.
And then as far as like total yards, like there's not a lot of guys touching Skattebo. It's like him and Ashton.
Player comp right now, what do you see like the highest ceiling for Skattebo being? Like right now,
so Peyton Hillis, like a Mike Scott.
So the player
type of player.
The player comp right now for football guys is James Conner, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with that like 100%, but like
a big bruiser. That's not afraid to that actually is like loves it. loves
the contact,
wants it, needs it.
What, do you think James Conner, is there anybody else who you can kind of comp Skattebo to?
Oh man, I mean any of those big just bruising backs.
It's okay if you don't think any of off the top of your head. I just I don't know.
I'm thinking Peyton Hillis.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of similar.
I mean, really.
I don't remember exactly. I feel like Hillis was huge though. I feel like he was way bigger than 215. He was definitely bigger. But
that type of mentality, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna run you over.
It's like, what is this guy? He got a fullback? What is he?
But also caught 45 balls for 600 yards last year.
Yeah, just a playmaker, and he's also going to be great in the locker room. Imagine if it would be terrible for me. Imagine him on the Lions.
Yeah.
Man, Campbell would just be in tears all the time talking about old Cam.
Oh, Cam and Gibbs in the backfield would be, oh, man, that would be something interesting for NFL. Who have they moved on to for offensive coordinator now that Ben Johnson's
I think they promoted in-house.
Okay.
So he'll just be doing, copying Ben's notes.
Same thing. Skattebo's fun. I don't know that there's a world where he works into the first round in rookie drafts, but he's a name that I feel like you need to pay attention to.
I think it's that he's in range there at the end.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a fun piece to have.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm looking for these fun pieces.
I agree.
That's why I'm into Travis Hunter so much. It's just this is about.
It's a narrative, man. Every day is different. It's a quarterback. Is a wide receiver. Who's mad? Who's happy? I love the thing where people said there was a couple of NFL executives that said Hunter may run some wide receiver routes at the combine if necessary. I think I retweeted and said, oh, it's going to be necessary. You got Hunter out there just gashing people, and execs are just going to be drooling.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'm here for it. All right, Addy, you're 202. You double-dipped at tight end, but it wasn't Harold Fannin.
Yeah, Colston Loveland.
You definitely spelled his name wrong. It's Colston. But it's okay. We got it there from Football Guys. I typed it. That was my bad.
Yeah,
put that on me.
I pronounced it right.
Put that on me. Where is it? It's a long week here with no Josh. Josh, please come back.
That's right, Josh. We miss you.
Mm-hmm.
He was also in one of these offenses that's not going to air it out a ton for Michigan, if you're not familiar. But great size, 6'5", 245.
That player comp.
Football Guys have him at comp to Mark Andrews. So good catcher when he was targeted. 56 catches, 582, 5 touchdowns in 2024.
Wow.
45, 649, 4 touchdowns in 2023. But young guy, good athlete, better athlete than Tyler Warren.
For sure.
He's projected first, second round draft capital right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good. PFF grade's good.
I think he has the best hands of any tight end in the class. He's pretty fast. I think he's kind of a yak guy. He's got crisp routes. There's at the 202, you could do far worse than Loveland here. Is there anybody else in this range that you feel like you maybe would have rather gone with? I'll go ahead and give you my 203, but 203, Tre Harris, wide receiver, Ole Miss, 6'3", 210. I kind of like me some Tre Harris. You on board? Or am I standing alone here?
I had another one of them Ole Miss guys.
Yeah.
But he did have some pretty good production early on at Louisiana Tech.
Yep. 935 yards in 2022. He had 10 touchdowns that season. 985 his first year at Ole Miss, which was 2023, and 8 touchdowns. And then last year he had 60 catches, 1,030 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So, Jackson Dart was probably a little bit of that. He had a pretty good quarterback throwing him the ball. But I think Tre Harris is he's a pretty good little route runner.
Yeah.
I'm kind of for the second round, for a running back, I think you could do worse than Tre Harris.
Yeah, no, and I was looking at the yards per route run leaders, and he broke it last year. He had a 5-point something, which is just absurd.
That's what Kai Borg was saying.
Yeah,
he basically broke the spreadsheets.
Yeah,
but I've seen that. He's just this star way out on the bar graph.
Very alarming.
Not a bar graph.
That definitely makes is that one of them.
The XY axis graph.
There you go.
We know what we're talking about.
That's right.
I like Tre Harris, but I mean we're definitely in kind of that dart throwing range at this point.
Good size, 6'3", 210.
Absolutely.
Should test well at the combine, I would think.
Yeah, I think the metrics are going to be good. The player comp is interesting. Jacoby Myers, I kind of like that. Jacoby Myers is a decent little wide receiver. So I don't know. I think at the 203, it's too early to grab another IDP at this point. And you've got kind of this. We're in this weird range now. Even Skattebo was probably in this range. Like once you rolled over to the second round, it's like, okay, now these running backs feel a little different. They feel like,
well, you know that they're going to get third round capital.
Yeah, they don't feel like day one starters. They feel like backups at this point. There's guys that I like. There's guys that both of us like. But even IDP, I don't feel like it's time to quite move the IDPs forward anymore. I feel like Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter, cornerback, are in this category by themselves this year.
Yes, I totally agree.
And then there's an empty tier 2, and then there's like everybody else.
I still want to take the shot on potentially finding these potential 3-4 year starters that I think you can find in the second round on the offensive side.
For sure. Who'd you take here at 204?
I went Dylan Sampson.
Yeah.
Running back out of Tennessee, 5'11", 201 pounds, 20.4 years of age, youngest in the class. He's listed at, did I just say 5'11", 201?
Yep.
6 straight 100-plus yard rushing games at one point this past season. So
wow.
He balled out at Tennessee, 258 as far as carries go for 1,491 yards.
The yardage.
15 touchdowns, 22 catches, 143 yards. So, yeah, I think he could be a fun little piece to have.
Yeah, man.
I'm fine with this price. He'll be like a early to mid-second round pick.
Ever since Kamara's come out, I feel like Tennessee running backs have just been on everybody's radar. Last year, I mean, obviously Kamara's been out for a while, but Jalen Wright kind of felt similar to Dylan Sampson, especially as far as like ADP. Like Wright was kind of like a second rounder. I'm still holding hope for Jalen Wright. I think maybe there's a world where with Mostert gone this year, maybe Wright gets a little bit more carries and A-Chain stays injured.
I bet he does.
Yeah,
I mean, that's tip. I think that's what they want. You don't want to
run A-Chain into the ground.
Right. I don't know that he could handle it.
Agreed.
So Jalen Wright could be a little beast this year.
Yeah, I love that. But I love Dylan Sampson too. 5'11", 201, 1,500 yards almost last year, 15 touchdowns. At the 204, you could definitely do worse than Dylan Sampson. Because Dylan Sampson could get drafted by a good team and could end up in a nice little spot where he's, maybe like seeing like Zach Charbonnet type production in his. I'm not saying like that's his player comp. His player comp is to Jerome Ford, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. But you could see Dylan Sampson get a little work, I feel like, in his rookie year.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, with where the league is right now, like a lot of these running backs are getting old.
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of jobs opening up.
Yep.
And yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of the running backs in this class take those jobs.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Henry, CMC, James Conner.
Aaron Jones.
Yes. I mean, there's a lot of running backs.
Saquon's 28.
Yeah, I mean, he's not young by any means. Kamara's getting older.
Kamara's old. He's like 29, 30, isn't he?
Joe Mixon is now getting a little bit older. I mean, literally, like we could grow across. Austin Eckler's getting a little bit older. There's a ton of older running backs.
Yeah, those guys are about to. Nick Chubb is old.
Within a year or so, it's like
bunch of ACLs.
They're gone. So these guys are going to be super relevant. All right, let's talk about another guy that I think is going to be a guy that we need to, he's going to get a lot of buzz here this next month or so. The RAS is going to be crazy. The combine is going to be super fun. The 205, I took Harold Fannin Jr., tight end out of Bowling Green. Not the Bowling Green for those of you out there that think, we got to watch this guy play. We didn't. I don't know where that is. In Ohio?
Ohio, yeah.
Okay. Different, worst part
I've ever been there.
Worst part of America. Yeah, I don't care to go.
Yeah,
the lesser Bowling
posers
Green is what we call it.
We call them
here.
posers.
6'4", 230. In 2024, 117 receptions, 1,555 yards, 10 touchdowns. Saw some pretty decent production in 2023. 43 catches, 623 yards, 6 touchdowns. Harold Fannin is just the athletic freak of the class. The player comp here, one of your favorites, Addy, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's career has been pretty awesome. It took him a couple years to get warm. You got to love the Giants for that. But thank goodness for Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars, because Evan Ingram has been a beast, especially in the reception category. And I feel like Harold Fannin could be copy and paste. I don't know that I feel like if you put Fannin on a decent team, you're going to see, of the 3 tight ends, Fannin could be the one getting the best early on production over Loveland and over Tyler Warren, at least early on.
Yeah, I think people are going to fall in love with him. I mean, geez, dude, 117 catches for 1,555 yards.
That's crazy.
That is nuts. That's got to be like one of the all-time tight end seasons
I know.
in college. But, yeah, I mean, he's going to, I'd imagine second round draft capital for him.
That's more than Tet. Tet was 84 for 13-19 last year. Is it more than Hunter? Yes.
Yeah.
More receptions than Hunter and more receiving yards.
That's the most out of all these guys.
I think you're right.
So
at the tight end position. Fannin will probably be a first rounder. Don't you feel like it? What has you took the other 2 tight ends ahead of Fannin?
101.
Yeah, it might be. You took Fannin. You took the other 2 ahead of Fannin. So what's got you higher on Warren and on Loveland than Fannin?
I mean, I think they're all right in the mix together.
I got you.
Warren, we had the playoffs. I guess he's fresh on our mind, but also like everything I'm hearing is like he's going to be mocked inside the top 15.
Yeah.
So that's pretty big for me.
Yeah.
Whereas these other guys like Loveland and Fannin, like, yeah, I think they're going to be like, second rounders.
Yeah.
Maybe late first at best.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really I think Loveland and Fannin Jr.,
same
toss
type.
up.
Yeah.
They're going to go right around each other.
Yep.
But I think they're both like really good athletes.
Yeah.
And like the way they move, like the way they catch,
Mm-hmm. Both
a lot
freaks.
smoother. Like Tyler Warren just feels a little bit clunkier.
Yeah.
Right.
Clunky works though.
But it works, right?
Tell me what of Kittle and Kelsey that looks smooth.
It especially works at the tight end position.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
It's okay there.
Yeah, clunky is okay. Yeah, I like that. I don't know. We'll see how Harold Fannin can get, because he's, I don't know. I get a little skeptical sometimes. Brock Bowers last year was a little bit of an outlier. I had him lower down my rookie mocks than I probably should have. He probably belonged maybe in that Odunze range. Odunze at 103. I don't know.
Yeah, probably Brock at 103.
Yeah, most people probably going to take Brock ahead.
And I think that now, these days, people might even take him over Marvin Harrison.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Can you buy Marvin Harrison right now?
Yeah, I think you should be able to.
What's it cost?
Probably too much, though. Still probably a lot. I still believe. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean,
we've seen some crazy rookie seasons, so we get a little spoiled, but he was still pretty solid.
You'd rather have Neighbors right now than Harrison?
Yeah, I think so. Neighbors
seems to be one of those, like, I don't know. I don't love the attitude sometimes.
That
and
is
I know
true.
that's kind of the diva thing, but like, I don't know. Sometimes with Neighbors, it's like, bro, you just shut up. Just, I don't know.
It can go south.
Absolutely.
We saw it with like Odell Beckham. I think that type of stuff kind of
Yes.
sidetracked his career.
I kind of like it in my wide receivers. I kind of like a little bit of diva mentality, but I don't love the, like, talking bad about your teammates and, talking down to your quarterback and stuff like that. That kind of stuff kind of irks me a little bit. But talking about quarterbacks, Addy, the 206 here, who'd you take?
Went with Cam Ward. Just felt like, at this point,
Yeah.
let's just get QB1. I feel like this is pretty good value for him. And I think he's going to be pretty solid. I think he's got tools. He's put up 4,300 yards last season at Miami, 39 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not the biggest runner, 60 rushes for 204 yards and 4 touchdowns. But still, that's, it's not nothing. Mm-hmm. So I think he's going to be fine. I think he's probably going to be one of the first 3 picks.
Yeah, he'll be a guy that somebody moves up for. There's already a little bit of chatter that I can't remember what team today. Maybe the Jets or somebody. There was a potential offer already sent, and they were wanting to move up for Cam Ward. It wasn't for Shedeur.
He'll have a good pro day or combine or whatever. He'll throw the ball out of the gym.
You agree with the player comp, Baker Mayfield?
That'd be great. I mean, that'd be great for him. Baker's a stud now.
I like Cam Ward. I think we're kind of sleeping on Cam Ward a little bit. I think that I think everybody kind of sees this whole quarterback class as just not really that great. I don't really love any of them, but I think Cam Ward is a guy that you probably need to pay attention to. You're right. I mean, 4,300 yards last year and 39 touchdowns. He was productive pretty much all of every season. He's every season there at Miami. So, anyways, 206. You could do worse with Cam Ward. Is this a pretty low draft spot here for the first quarterback to come off the board?
Yeah, I feel like
I haven't seen this in a while.
When we have all the picks, it can make you do some things you may not do otherwise.
For sure. But
I feel like we'd be a little more selective if we, only had a few picks.
You see Cam Ward or Shedeur going in the first in any of these? The other maybe
in first, but
maybe the more important question is, like, we play in super flex leagues. How skeptical are those picks this year?
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm still probably. I feel like I'd in Superflex I'd still go Ward 102.
Yeah,
but I'd be scared about it.
Yeah,
if I needed a quarterback, I could be like, oh God, I have to make this pick.
I've got to do this.
I don't really want to make this pick.
Trade back,
but still need a quarterback.
Yeah. I've got a league right now where I've got Goff and I don't have another quarterback, and it's a Superflex league. I traded somebody at some point, and I don't know what picks I have this year, but it's going to be interesting because. You're exactly right. Like, Ward deserves to be up there, but then Shedeur, it's like, gosh, do I want Tet or Shedeur?
Yeah.
Do I want Hunter or Shedeur?
Yeah, Shedeur could be, I've kind of come around on him a little bit. Like, he should at least be able to handle the moment.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
In a quarterback. I mean, it shouldn't be, too big for him, the NFL level.
Well, let's get to the next one, 207. I take Devin Neal here, running back out of Kansas, 5'11", 215. Another one of these, like, Dylan Sampson types. Cam Skattebos. Devin Neal's getting a little bit of hype here lately. Pretty productive over 4 seasons at Kansas. Last year, 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. In 2023, he had 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. Pretty productive even in 22 and 21. Can catch the ball a little bit out of the backfield. Had essentially about 20 receptions every single season. Devin Neal, kind of a guy that's popping off a little bit on the Twitters here in the last little while. People loving kind of the metrics and stuff with Devin Neal. So, I don't know. This is just kind of a guy in the middle of the second. I'm still not ready to kind of jump into the IDP well quite yet because I don't want to miss out on what a guy like Devin Neal could potentially be. So, I don't know. I feel like you could do worse here at the 207.
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, he should be drafted probably in the 3rd round, I would think, in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's going to be – he's a worthy selection here. This running back class is crazy.
Really deep.
This is what? Are we on RB 8 or 9 at this point?
I think this is 8 because there were 5 in the first round.
But, yeah, this is
we're not done yet.
This is the class to do it, man. I think if you want a running back or need a running back.
Yep. And you're exactly right. I think there's a lot of people that don't think all these running backs are going to be that good, and that's true. They're not all going to be like Ashton Jeanty. But exactly what we just talked about, there's so many of these running backs that very quickly are going to be out of the league. So, I mean, like...
Lots of opportunity.
How often do you look up and you're like, wow, Jerome Ford was really useful this year if you had him? But, It's just a lot of those types in the NFL that just, they might not be that good. Tony Pollard's getting older. There's another one. But a lot of these guys are going to get run. So, Devin Neal, especially after the combine, I feel like could be a guy that really gets some pop. Addy, I like this next one. This is probably a guy who I feel like post-combine or closer to the draft is going to be a higher second probably in some of our drafts. But who'd you take at the 208?
I want Elic Ayomanor.
There you go.
It's a fun name.
There you go.
I just drafted so I could say Ayomanor.
I wish I had a cool drive. I don't have any more cool drives.
We'll record this and that'll be a new drop.
Sure.
Just drop Ayomanor all the time. But he's a fun receiver. I don't think he's anything like I don't think he'll ever be like a team's wide receiver 1 or anything. But he's a nice like complimentary.
You see the
piece.
comp?
Michael Crabtree. I just saw that. I love that.
One of your faves.
I didn't see that until just now. But man, I loved Michael Crabtree. And yeah, that's what Elic is. He's like a chain mover.
Yep.
Solid route runner.
Yep.
Good hands. Just a solid piece. I see more like a Robert Woods type with him.
Yep.
But he was a valuable asset for us in the right offense. So I think that's what he could be. Yeah, 208. I feel like that's solid value there.
I love
PFF
that.
has him ranked as their 37th overall player. So
wow,
pretty good, pretty high.
Especially if he gets that 2nd round draft capital. I don't know that he'll be at the 208. He's going to sneak up closer to the early 2nd.
That day 2 is going to be fun.
How are you saying his first name? Elic?
Elic.
See, my southern drawl just makes me want to say Alec.
Alec. It might be Alec.
But I'm really saying an E. I'm really not saying an A. It's just me saying Alec. I don't know. My mind does not want to say Elic.
Elic. Yeah, I have no idea. I'm sure
It's a weird word. But I love Elic.
Love that last name, though.
I love Elic.
Who cares about the first name? Let's get to the juicy one. That's the second part of the name.
In my first little pre-mock and everything, I talked about how he gives me kind of smaller Michael Pittman vibes. So that's who I was thinking about.
Nice, yeah.
6'2", 210. You're exactly right. Isn't going to be super flashy. Isn't going to have a crazy high ceiling, but just going to be a good little vet. Michael Crabtree, that's a fun little comp for him.
That is fun. He was sick, dude. And, in his heyday, in college, remember, he was,
popping off.
Yeah.
He was really
He's
good.
a legend.
Yeah. Speaking of a legend, RJ Harvey at the 209 is going to make me a legend. The player comp right now is giving me a little bit of tremors. Daryl Henderson, shout out Hendo. I didn't draft him a ton of places, but I did have the Daryl Henderson experience, and it was not real fun. But RJ Harvey to me is, another one of these running backs that just has so much potential. Played at University of Central Florida, 5'9", 208. In 2024, he had 232 attempts, 1,577 rushing yards, 22 touchdowns, and then he had 20 receiving yards, 267 through the air, and 3 touchdowns. I think I saw some metrics today about RJ Harvey basically being one of the most explosive backs out of this class. RJ Harvey, in the second, feels kind of like a Tank Bigsby. I was kind of hype on Roschon at the time. Roschon hasn't really panned out that well. But, in the second, a guy like RJ Harvey, is he going to end up being here in most rookie ADPs? I don't know. Probably not. But I really like the way RJ Harvey runs. Guy's got a lot of explosiveness, a lot of the yards after contact. I don't know. He's just a fun guy to keep an eye on more than anything.
Yeah, he feels like he'll be one of the better values in this rookie class.
Yes.
For you in your draft. So, yeah, everything I've watched of him, he's impressive. You just worry about the draft capital. Hopefully he gets third-round capital.
Yeah.
Probably more like fourth. And that's just, not because really in
that's the
in
NFL.
Last year's class, he probably would have been in the third, second,
Mm-hmm.
But when you have so many good running backs,
yeah,
it's just tough. It's going to bump some guys down.
Are we messing this up, Addy? Are we this round, should we have thrown some IDPs in the second?
I don't think so.
I don't either.
Because it's still this IDP class is so after those top two.
Yeah.
And really I think you can maybe throw a safety or two in there as well.
Sure.
We'll get to him in a second.
Yeah, briefly.
But I mean, for the most part, I'll just take the value. I don't want to overdraft any
I like Jihaad Campbell. I don't know how much he's going to play this year. I like Jalen Walker. I don't know how much he's going to play this year. It doesn't feel like the Latus, the Dallas Turners.
What if Campbell, which I saw in the mock today, what if he gets first-round capital or early second-round capital?
That changes a lot.
Probably will take him here in the second.
Yeah, in the second, not in
Late
the first.
Second still.
206 to 212 range feels a lot safer if you do see Campbell in the first.
Let's say RJ Harvey gets third, late third.
We're swapping it.
You'd rather go
if Campbell is a
Campbell.
first-round draft pick. Where did I see him going? I saw him comp to maybe the Bucks. I can't remember exactly, but
wherever. If he gets, and also there's that upside with him that he could potentially be like a Micah Parsons, switch to edge type.
Yeah, 6 sacks I believe in his senior year, but also still had 60, 65 tackles. He does kind of feel like that kind of tweener.
Maybe like a Luvu. Maybe Luvu's a better description for him.
He's dude's super fast, very rangy, sideline to sideline type of skills.
Big hitter.
You're exactly right. If that were to be the case, and prepare for that, because we know who we like, but the draft is going to tell us a whole lot more about where these guys need to be.
And we'll definitely do this again after
for sure,
draft, because it's going to change a ton.
210 here, Addy. You did take an IDP, and it was not Jihaad Campbell.
I did. I took Malaki Starks here.
Yeah.
Just feel like he's going to be the safety one in the class. He's going to get top.
He's a DB one to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Just, as far as the DBs go, the best.
DB one in the class, but also bigger picture. He's already a top 6 safety in Dynasty.
DB 2 behind Travis Hunter.
DB2. That's
Well,
right.
I
Correct.
mean,
Correct. No, you're right. You're right.
I mean,
Yeah, no, you're right.
however you want to look at that.
That's true. That is true.
You discuss that among yourselves.
Right.
Leave it in the comments
Right.
for Josh. He'll
if you
answer
care
that.
about that sort of thing. I don't.
We don't care. Malaki Starks, though.
Yeah, good player, playmaker, going to get good capital, good usage, 50% of his snaps in the sweet spot for his career. So we could see that tick up more. He was productive immediately at Georgia, 68 tackles, 2 INTs, 2 TFLs as a freshman. And then 52 tackles in 2023, 77 tackles in 2024. So just really solid production, especially for Georgia, where it's hard to come by there. But he's gonna be a guy that I think is on a lot of IDP rosters for a long time. And so I think like this is the range for him. Maybe it's a little high. I felt a little bad. Like we got to put some IDPs in here too.
Yeah, we did. Me and Addie pre-drafted this obviously yesterday, and I think we got to like I don't remember what it was. It was like it was probably about this range. We were like, Adam, we should probably take some IDPs. We are not an offensive podcast. This is the IDP show.
Y'all may be upset.
Yeah, y'all might be.
We were sorry for that.
Be tuned
I
out.
feel like the Travis Hunter combo was good enough for you,
for sure,
to make you stick around.
You stayed for 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Malaki Starks, did you ever have the T-shirt when you were growing up above the rim?
Oh yeah, that was a cool brand.
That was what I wrote for his write-up. Like I feel like that's the way he lives his life, just above the rim.
Yeah.
Anytime you see him in his highlights at Georgia, the dude is just kind of channeling his inner. What was the Chargers wide receiver, Mike Williams? Just always 12 feet in the air, just up there. Now, Mike Williams didn't know how to come down. He knew how to get up there.
Yeah.
But Malaki Starks, dude, I knew he was going to be an Addy guy. Like, when I first saw his tape, I was like, gosh, I know who Adam's going to fall in love with.
I'm a fan.
There's also a couple of other safeties that are pretty fun in this class.
That's the thing. I am a fan, but I don't know that I want to spend up and pay a second for him. Truly, when push comes to shove and I'm on the clock,
because there's still a lot of these running backs and wide receivers that
right.
We'll talk about several of them here coming up, and
there'll be a lot more that are on a radar too.
This is going to be that going conversation of like, do you take the best safety in the class or do you take the running back 12 here?
That's true. That's the same thing, isn't it?
You
probably should.
More often than not, it makes more sense to go grab Malaki Starks, who was taken at the 117 in the NFL draft.
But he could be Bucky Irvin.
But what if Jarquez Hunter turns out to be
Bucky Irvin.
Elite? Yeah, Bucky Irvin. What if he turns into Isaiah Pacheco?
This could be the next Tyrone Tracy.
Exactly. He could be Puka Nakua.
There you go.
So at the 211, I did take Jarquez Hunter because I just wanted to mention him. I wanted to talk about him. He's much in the same vein of RJ Harvey. Is he going to get the player or the draft capital that we're hoping for? Probably not. Projected draft capital right now is the 5th to 6th round. I hope it's a little bit higher. Jarquez Hunter, if you don't know, the running back out of Auburn, 5'10", 209, kind of similar size to most of these guys. In his 4 years at Auburn, 3,371 yards, 25 touchdowns, caught 68 balls for 558 yards and 4 touchdowns. Hunter, kind of like Harvey, has that explosiveness. So I'm not going to sit here and talk to you for an hour about how much I love Jarquez Hunter. I just do, and I think it's a guy that just put a pin in it. We've said it. He's on your radar. Just pay attention to him.
There you go. He's just on your radar. I think you'll be able to get him as a value.
Yep.
I think he's in this range right where he's going to get bumped down because of these IDPs that are highly drafted.
And the other thing too is like, we know y'all love some IDPs. You're listening to this podcast, so you clearly are not here for our RJ Harvey and our Jarquez Hunter takes. You're here to talk about Travis Hunter. You're here to talk about Malaki Starks. So you're going to overdraft IDPs. In the second round, you're going to see Mike Green out there, and you're just going to be drooling thinking, all right, the 205 went, he's still there. All right, the 206 went, he's still there. Yep. I know how this stuff goes.
Yep.
I don't know.
For the most part, that's a mistake. Usually,
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Or at least you wish you would have rather tried to find the potential league breaker, on offense, which is it's always, as much as we love IDP,
that's what this league is.
Everyone overvalues offense.
Yep.
And they value it more.
And I love that you said that because the IDPshow.com, get in the dynasty ranks, and you're going to see guys like Nick Bolton. You're going to see guys like, give me somebody else that you don't love.
Patrick Queen.
Patrick Queen. Give me a DB.
Kirby Joseph.
Kirby Joseph. You're going to see lots of guys. There's probably lots of defensive ends that you don't really like. Adam probably doesn't love, but guess who does love it? The community. The drafters out there. The ADP loves it. So just because like we might not like a guy,
people that just look at the stats from the previous year,
exactly,
right? Those are the
box score watchers.
They're relevant for right now. Flip them right now.
Yep. So your ranks are not always indicative of, oh well, look at where Adam likes Nick Bolton. No, that's where he thinks, it's a little bit of Adam, but it's also a little bit of like this is where Bolton's range kind of is right now.
A lot of people love Bolton.
Yep.
And he had a good year, so now like his stock is up again. So he's definitely a guy that's gone up in the ranks.
But it's also kind of similar to like Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell got the first round draft capital. So guess what? He's really valuable. Has he been great the first couple years? No, it's been kind of a bumpy ride. But guess what?
He's solid.
He's still really valuable,
and he's getting better and better. Still young.
Yeah.
Still one hell of a rass.
It's just that like in IDP, especially when they have the draft capital, that stuff never leaves them unless you're Isaiah Simmons. Like you get to a certain point in your career to where it's gone. But those first couple of years, man, there's still that like.
Yeah, if you do anything,
yes,
you'll be fine. You'll get a second contract usually.
Yep.
It's rare. The situations like Isaiah Simmons, man, he was just wow.
Tweener, too much of a tweener is what I attribute it to.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew how to use him, where to put him. Does he rush the passer?
Simmons didn't know how to use him.
No.
How to use himself.
No. He is still in the league. I don't know if he's got to be a free agent this year. I think he just signed a one-year deal with old Wink Martindale. But anyways, those were fun days when Isaiah Simmons was good at
Different
Clemson.
world back then.
Beware Barrett Carter. 212, Addy, where did you go here?
All right, where did I go here? I went with Jalen Royals.
Yeah.
Another just a fun little receiver.
Yep.
Out of Utah State. 2.42 career yards per out run, so that's solid. It is Utah State again, but he was impressive. 6 foot, 205.
But just like you said about Malaki Starks, you said you talked about his production. You said, well, which is good at Georgia because of all the competition. So it's just interesting, like, you look at a guy like Jeanty and you look at a guy like Travis Hunter who all have this crazy production, and everybody says, yeah, but look at the school that he went to. I feel like sometimes it's the opposite with, like, SEC to where it's like, yeah, but he had a lot of competition there, like a lot of competition for tackles, a lot of competition for targets. I don't know. I just think that's ironic how you kind of have the two narratives based off of where they went to school.
Yeah, it's true. A lot of narratives being thrown around.
Look at this player comp to Jalen Royals.
Early Doucette. Speaking of, we didn't touch on it, but Thomas Rawls, Jarquez Hunter. That's who they comp. That was a nice little throwback.
Kind of like that.
You were a Rawls guy.
I was a Rawls guy. Yeah, I had a team name with Rawls in it. I can't remember.
Yeah, you were rolling on the floor laughing.
Maybe that's it.
Hopefully that was it.
I don't think that was it.
Probably not.
That was it. It was something way cool.
Should have been.
Jalen Royals, though, just another guy. Put a pin in it.
Yeah.
Pay attention to him.
Another guy. He's probably going to be, available in the 3rd, 4th round for you in drafts. But, needs to be on the radar.
All right. We're going to go ahead and jump into the 3rd. And we're not going to go, we're already an hour and 10, hour and 15 into it. So we don't want to keep you too long. But we're going to just go through the 3rd round. I'm going to tell you, we only drafted through the 6 picks, but we're going to talk about those. And then we're just kind of going to give you some player names after that, who we like, kind of who we're looking at in the 3rd and the 4th. And then we're going to wrap it up. And then we're going to wish Josh he would hurry up and head back from Mexico for our next episode and make it a whole lot easier when it's back to the big 3. The 301 here, I finally did it. Finally did it for you all. Mike Green, you guys can tune back in. You tuned out of Travis Hunter early on. What are we at here? We're at the 118 mark. You're welcome to come back. Mike Green is selected by IDP Bob. Mike Green's pretty fun. All right, Addy, you, much like me, at the 302, James Pearce. Defensive end there for Tennessee. I guess I should tell you all if you don't know about Mike Green, defensive end for the Big Green. Is that what they are? Marshall? I don't know what their mascot is there at Marshall. The Herd?
Thundering Herd, maybe?
Thundering Herd. Maybe that's right. I don't know. The 303, I finally said, let's go Shedeur. His player comp is Tony Romo. That seems hilarious to me. I don't know if I like that very much. 304, Jihaad Campbell. Could change based
We
off
skipped
of.
over 302. We got to circle back to 302.
No, I told you, James Pearce.
Oh, we just brushed over
I
him?
mentioned it. No, he's great.
You know,
We'll circle back. I just want to mention them all. I wanted to mention them all. Yeah, sorry.
I see.
304, Jihaad Campbell. 305, I took Ollie Gordon. I can't remember if I have odds or evens. I think I did take Ollie Gordon. And then at the 306, I'm just now reading it because I didn't see this last night. You took Jack Bech. So with those 6 picks, Addy.
I'm going to pronounce it Bech.
I think that's way better, especially because his player comp is Puka Nacua.
Yes, sir. That's what it'll be.
That.
Him or
I love
Thielen.
that. 106.
I see a lot of Thielen in this guy.
All right, of those 6 picks, let's talk about a few of the IDPs here. Addy, what do you want to talk about here?
Mike Green. Wow.
Yeah,
You're a fan, huh?
yeah, man.
You're buying in the Senior Bowl.
17 sacks in his senior season.
Old as hell.
I don't care. I kind of like him. I mean, in the third, what else are we going to do? We're going to draft our 22nd running back.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he's going to be good. Seems like a sack artist type. Also a good tackler too, right?
Does he deserve to be any higher?
Nah, I think this is fair.
I agree.
I don't really want to go spend a second.
Him or Pearce.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Pearce is cool. There's awesome tape, but there's also times where that dude just completely disappeared.
Yeah. And there's some stuff circulating on Twitter that this dude has maybe some anger issues.
Oh, wow. I hadn't seen that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, though.
I do too. I like my guy just a little bit of an edge, so I'm fine with that. That actually kind of like made me bump him up a few spots.
Yeah, I kind of into that. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like Mike Green or James Pearce deserve to be any higher.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Is there going to be any?
Are they both going to get like? I feel like they're both going to be like pick 15 or later. Like they'll probably be first rounders.
Yeah,
but I feel like they're both back of the first round.
I feel like we've talked the last month or so about how many first round edges have we drafted in IDP that were first round. I'm not saying in IDP, but I mean like that were drafted first round in the NFL draft that we drafted because they had draft capital. Marshawn Nealon, Lucas Van Ness. I don't know. I'm sure we could talk several more of them that it's just like, do you really want to roster Van Ness right now? It's just kind of.
Yeah, they end up kind of being like roster clogs a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like because they got the capital, so you just keep like waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
And you talk yourself into, they flashed. But yeah, sometimes, and it's like, what's the upside of those guys anyway? It's like,
Yeah.
I'll just go find a Kyle Van Noy.
It's kind of like quarterback to where like these NFL teams are looking for pass rushers so bad that they're willing to not necessarily get in that quarterback range, but they're willing to burn their first to see maybe James Pearce turns into somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And the odds of them flaming out are pretty high.
Pretty high. A lot of those late firsts, they haven't worked out.
David Collins.
Aziz Ojulari was early second.
Yep.
Chris Braswell was early second.
Where was Thibodeau?
Owe was late first. He might turn out fine.
Yeah.
But it's like Thibodeau was early first.
Okay.
But there's a lot of those guys. Nolan Smith is a guy that I could see like James Pearce going like to the Eagles or somebody and balling.
Yeah.
That's who's leaking the stuff. It's Howie Roseman.
That's it. It's his. No, actually, I saw DJ's comp had the Eagles taking another DB.
Really?
It was
it was
Jade Barron, wasn't it? Maybe he's more of like a pretty strict corner. Actually,
dude, I think it might have been Malaki Starks.
Was it
I
really?
think he went late first for him, which I don't know if I'd like that.
Yeah,
they got some good DBs there, man.
For Chauncey and for
Reed
DeJean.
Blankenship and
Reed. Reed is good, man. You put Reed on just a standard, non-Eagles team in the NFL. We're talking about him more regularly.
He's a good safety. He slept on.
But yeah, I agree with Green and Pearce here in this range, and then Shedeur, whatever. I mean, you can go and listen to another podcast talk about Shedeur Sanders. I don't love him. Jihaad Campbell, you're right. If he gets higher draft capital, he will be higher than the 304.
He's fun. He's got the tools that he could be a fun little asset for us.
Ollie Gordon, projected draft capital 3rd to 4th round. There's a lot of people that love Ollie Gordon. I am not one of them. I think he's a 3rd round, 4th round draft pick in your rookie drafts. But
he's big as hell.
Yeah, another name just to pay attention to. That's why his player comp is Braylon Allen.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Spot on.
That's what I saw when I watched him.
Old Jack, you want to talk about him? Wide receiver at TCU. What do you like about him?
Jack Bech.
Just a name to pay attention to, or is there more to him?
I see a Adam Thielen type, a Jordy Nelson type.
Projected draft capital 2nd to 3rd round.
That's nice. If he
I
gets
hate the Puka Nacua player.
Yeah,
comp.
that's tough to put on somebody.
That's a lot. Poor Jack is sweating at the house right now.
He's fun though, man. He really is. Like
Agreed.
He's aggressive, like not afraid to catch a ball in traffic. And then he's got some big playability. But I think he'll be a guy that sticks around the NFL for a long time, I think. So I'm good with him here. 306. Yeah, sign me up.
Okay, Addy, let's finish up the episode here talking about the rest of the 3rd and just some other names that we kind of want to pay attention to. I'll let you pull up your phone, and I'm going to get over here to old Mikey Dub's lovely little chart that he gave us based on where he's kind of seeing players in certain rounds of their rookie mocks. You can't see it, but I can, so good for me. You can see it too, Adam. You just don't know how to get there. But
right.
What do you think? Rest of the 3rd, who are some player names? What are some ranges here for some of these guys?
I mean, this is probably where we're going to see a lot of IDPs go, right? So, I mean, guys that we could see, like, surging up the draft board, like someone like Jalen Walker. I feel like he's going to tear up the combine. And then he'll probably get, pretty solid draft capital, probably a first rounder, I think.
I would say so.
Michael Williams, same thing. I know a lot of people are, like, skeptical of him. But he's got the tools, and, like, he's young. He's, like, one of the youngest guys in this class. Again, Georgia, it's like
he feels a little bit like Trayvon Walker, like a little.
But that's solid.
Going to take some time.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, we can, project.
Yeah, we can handle that.
You're right though. He has the tools.
He has the tools. He's young. He's very young. Like Mike Green has. We don't even know Mike Green's DOB.
Yeah,
I still can't find it.
Could be 28.
He could be. I think he is.
Let's put it out there.
I think that's the name of this episode. Mike Green is
28.
28.
Question mark?
Yeah. So Nick Imanowori,
he's
going to be someone I think that we're talking about like in the 3rd round quite a bit. Carson Schwessinger, a guy that we mentioned on the last episode. But man, I love this guy at linebacker from UCLA. I think that I have him as my linebacker 2 right now in the class. We'll see what type of capital he gets, but yeah, he needs to be on your radar. And then guys like, Shamar Stewart, he's a unit of a person. Demetrius Knight, you're going to see a lot of hype about Demetrius Knight. He's also old as hell.
Yeah, he is.
I think he's like 25.
Yeah, I was going to say 24 at least.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. This is like a grown man out there.
25.
I swear I think he's 25.
That's awesome.
Shout out. That he probably had a great time his last couple of years. But also a little creepy. Demetrius,
a little strange. What are you doing?
Mason Graham, can we see him get
4th
round capital?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, he's going to be drafted inside the top 10.
You into JT Tuimoloau? I can't get that last name out.
I mean, he'll be someone that you can pick up, I think, on waivers, right?
Okay. You don't think he's drafted in rookie drafts?
I feel like Jack Sawyer is going to be drafted over him.
Yeah, for sure. Both those Ohio State guys.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of guys that make it to waivers, I think. Like, the edge class is interesting, I think. And I think there's going to be – I mean, you're already seeing it now. Like, there's so many people that, like, don't like Michael Williams. You don't really hear a lot of talk about Jalen Walker.
Yeah.
And then, like, you see, like, Mike Green being the guy that's like on a lot of people's big boards now up top. So I don't know. I think the combine is going to shake it up a whole lot
for sure,
as it should. That's really like it really matters for that position especially. So, there's still so much time. Everything is going to change a lot.
Some other names to just rattle off to pay attention to. Just pay it. Keep an eye out. Keep an ear to the grindstone. Jackson Dart is going to rise a bunch with the whole combine process. I think Will Howard's going to rise a little bit. I'm kind of into Will Howard to some extent. Just paying attention to him. Other wide receivers to maybe just put a pin in. Tez Johnson, Xavier Restrepo. I actually really like. I think we talked about Xavion Williams. We didn't talk about him. Savion Williams, I guess is how you say his name because it's spelled with an S. But you're right, Adam. Other people that I kind of like, Lathan Ransom, defensive back. Xavier Watts, another defensive back to pay attention to. I don't know how to say his name. We talked about him a couple episodes ago, but Jade Barron, he's a really good corner. Another guy just to kind of put a pin in. But those are kind of the big names that I kind of have right now to throw out there. The first 3 rounds, maybe dipping into some of the 4th round guys there.
Savion Williams, offensive piece that's kind of interesting and fun.
Yes, I said him. How do you say his name? Savion?
Savion, how is it?
Well, it's spelled Savion. Savion. So I guess you're spot on there.
Who knows?
We might never know. But yeah, it's kind of a
Jane Higgins. You say him?
Yes, I did say him. It's kind of a bigger. It's kind of a bummer this year that we don't have more IDPs, because this could just be an absolute mess of a draft. If we had last year's defensive ends, you throw Dallas Turner, you throw
could have been a lot better values.
Oh man, you throw some good quarterbacks in here. You're talking about value well into the 3rd. And there's going to be decent players in the 3rd this year. But I think my mentality, I have 5 firsts in the XFL draft. I think my mentality legitimately is going to be, I have the 102, the 104, the 106 and 7, and the 111. I think I'm going to move one of the 6 or the 7 back a little bit. If I can go get a later pick plus a future first, that's probably what I'm doing right now, because I don't really see a ton of difference right now between Luther Burden and Cam Skattebo in the 2nd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, exactly.
From that 106 to 206 is a real weird kind of middle range right there. There are kind of your outliers of could Tyler Warren just be a standout in that area? Could Abdul Carter just be insane? Could Cam Ward come in and be a late first, early second for us that's just awesome? There's a potential for that, but there's also the potential that whatever running back you grab at 108 is going to be the same as whoever grabs a running back at 205.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like 107 and back. It's a great spot to trade out of those picks this season.
Yeah.
Probably most seasons, Let people overpay to come up and get their guy, right?
Yeah.
We actually have a pretty fun situation. I'm the 101.
Yep.
In XFFL.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I didn't finish last. I'll say that.
Yep.
I'll say that.
Yeah, he was quite the opposite.
I'll say that.
He was the inverse.
That's right. Coolest thing you can do in fantasy. I'll say that. Win it, but also pick first.
Sure.
Pretty cool.
Sure.
Pretty big flex.
Sure.
League is mad.
Sure.
Hate it for him.
Big mad.
What were we talking about?
I don't know. Somehow women's college basketball, Duke and Louisville, is on the television. Your flex.
Oh.
The 101.
I'm 101.
Yes.
We're going Ashton.
Yeah.
Bob's going. He has a 102.
102.
What do we? We can do. I'm not moving my pick.
Hey, I'm not scared.
I'm not moving my pick at all.
I'm not scared.
You're gonna go.
I ain't scared.
If Hunter's cornerback,
we're going Hunter.
Love it.
And then somebody else can come up if you want to take Ted at 3.
You have the 103.
No, I don't have the 3. I don't think Josh does.
That's interesting.
Josh has the 5. Shout out Leezy. Dr. Leezus has the 3. So that's going to be really interesting. If I go Hunter at 2, you got to stick in and go Ted at 3.
I would think so.
If you go Ted at 2, is there a world where Lee does not take Hunter at 3?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. So
Maybe.
That's the question you have to.
That's the mind game right there.
Yeah. Do you take Ted at 2 because you think you can get Travis at 4?
That's the risk you might have to run.
And
or would you just rather settle in and just say, you know what, I'm taking Hunter at 2, and I'm gonna take Omarion Hampton at 4. Guess what? I got a freaking stud wide receiver, cornerback, and I got a stud running back.
Twofer.
Dual Desi. We're gonna have to find a new little
That's right.
a new little marker for him. We're gonna have to be a bar just for Travis Hunter for those wide receivers and cornerbacks.
Some are calling him a cheat code. I don't know. I've heard that tossed around.
Yeah, I stopped you. You were gonna say something. Do you still remember what it was? Something about Hunter at 2, something about Ted at 3. We're talking about kind of switching that up or whatever. Is it worth kind of maybe taking Ted at 2 to hope Hunter is going to be there at 4?
Yeah, I think that's because you feel like running backs all the rage right now.
Yeah.
Maybe only 2 running backs get first round capital.
Yeah.
But if that happens, that's going to be a big spot for
whoever's that second running back.
Right.
Jeanty's going early.
So it'll be that second running back versus Hunter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It seems like most people are kind of scared of Hunter.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the pulse I've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you think he's there, that would be pretty sick to come away with Tet and Hunter. Like, ooh, boy.
Tet and Hunter does feel better than Hunter and Omarion Hampton.
But do you also kind of want a running back? Like, in your spot, you have 106.
I have 104, 106, and 107.
Okay, so, you can get 2 RBs there.
Yeah, but
If you want.
But again, that feels like the range to trade back. Maybe get a future first and grab one of these running backs in the second round. Because to me, honestly, the NFL draft really needs to tell me what the difference is between TreVeyon Henderson and Cam Skattebo. I feel like TreVeyon Henderson is going to get more draft capital, but what about all of a sudden when Skattebo is drafted over Judkins or is drafted over Kaleb Johnson? Like, we don't think that's going to happen.
But you got to be ready for it.
You never know, man. We're just, we play IDP. I'm not a scout. I'm not DJ. The draft always throws us crazy curveballs, and I'm here for it this year because it could be really fun.
If Hunter wasn't a cornerback,
and is a wide receiver,
I guess.
Okay.
How's he gonna be listed in like offense only leagues?
Probably a wide receiver, right?
I think so. I guess.
Yeah.
Is he? If it's like that, and you don't have IDPs involved, is Hunter still your 102?
Probably.
Really?
Probably. I just think that
you think he's going to play a ton of receiver too?
That dude's traits offensively are elite. He could. I think he has top 5 wide receiver traits for a dynasty wide receiver. Like, I think I don't see any difference in him to Neighbors, London, Garrett Wilson, Puka. I think
like him better than half those guys you named.
Yeah, I feel like he belongs in. I feel like he belongs in that tier.
I think so too.
If you're scared of Hunter, go watch his offensive tape and tell me this guy does not need to catch the ball offensively in the NFL. And
I can't see a team.
I'm willing to be wrong on Hunter.
Me too.
I'm willing to be wrong on him
because if you're right,
gosh,
oh boy,
yeah. If you're right, you've got a cornerback that could potentially be like Amon-Ra St. Brown production as a cornerback. Okay, so like we started the episode,
it's like nothing we've ever seen.
Yeah, you're starting Patrick Surtain because you like the matchup or whatever. Cornerback, that's probably a terrible thought. Let's go. Who did you say earlier? Kyler Gordon, another cornerback you like. You're starting Kyler Gordon this week, but you're also starting Travis Hunter. Kyler Gordon has a great week for you. He gets you 13 points. That's awesome for a cornerback. Good tackles. Guess what? Travis Hunter scores 32 points.
He gets 2 touchdowns and 100 yards, and then 3 or 4 tackles and a couple of PDs.
Why not?
It could be like 30 could be like a regular thing for him.
Yeah, like I think his points per game could be, if it's this game-breaking type of player, could be north of 25 points per game. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I think it's in the range.
Man,
that's what we see. That's why we're so high.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get that y'all are going to hate this, and there's going to be a lot of probably negative comments on it, and you're going to disagree with our Travis Hunter takes.
There are some people in on that too. I've seen some comments that reflect that. I made a post on the Twitters, and there were some people in there that were like, I don't know what I'm going to do with the 103, 104, and I was like, well, I'm glad that you're at least thinking about it. You should be.
For sure.
There's people that are just like, oh, you can't take Travis Hunter in the first round. Okay.
You know what?
I will.
You know what the other thing is like, this is a game. You know what? Go draft Travis Hunter. Guess what? If you're wrong, you're just wrong.
Oh, no, you're going to be drafting high the next draft.
Exactly. It's not that big a deal, but guess what? If you're right, you're going to be so right.
You just 3x'd your pick. He's going to be worth 3 first.
Absolutely.
At least.
If you want to move him, because he might want to.
Why would you?
He might be one of those players that's like, this is the likes of nothing we've ever seen before. From a points per game perspective, he could be a week winner for you week in and week out.
Yep. And I think he wants to do this. Folks.
I agree.
I think he wants, this day and age, like, everyone's aware of like stats and like this puts him as a legend if he's able to pull this off, playing both sides successfully. Like he's in rare air if he does this.
His college coach was prime.
Yes.
You know, the only other player recently, that successfully played on both sides of the ball, like pretty elite.
And what do you think Prime is telling him? Prime's going to tell him, dude, if you want to make the most money, if you want to get the highest paid non-QB quarterback contract,
Go catch the ball.
go do both.
Because I feel like the default is going to be if it hits the fan, he's just going to be a wide receiver.
Exactly.
And he's not going to play
And
corner.
I am totally fine with that.
Yep. Because I feel like there might even be some drafts where if you're in with some normies, people that aren't like super plugged in, Hunter could fall.
It's just crazy, though, isn't it? It's like,
it
I
is.
just can't believe so many people are missing it with him.
I agree. Need to get on board. Travis Hunter could break your league. So I'm on board for it. Addy,
And
thanks.
if he can't, you need to fix your league.
Absolutely. Get your scoring right.
Yep.
Big 3 scoring. Go check it out. Addy, you wanna say anything else for us tonight?
I don't think so. A lot of fun, Bobo.
This was fun.
Look forward to getting more concrete takes, getting more data
Yeah.
and stats and combine info. We got a lot of stuff coming up that's going to help us out.
Yep.
And you know that we're going to help you guys out as well. So
Good group around us. You still got the IDP after show every other week when we're not here.
great group.
Go to the IDPshow.com. Not only are you going to find Adam's Dynasty ranks, not only are you going to find Adam's Best Ball ranks. Did you do playoff ranks this year?
I didn't do it. Didn't do it this year.
Check into the IDP trade calculator, something pretty awesome that we've got going on right now. But also some crazy articles being written by some pretty crazy dudes. Mike Wohlert, ever heard of him, has got a pretty awesome linebacker article out. So from myself, Bobby, from my friend Adam, from our Mexico, we're probably not supposed to say where Josh is, our Mexican friend Josh, this has been the Big 3 IDP throwback episode with the duo pod here. Addy, this was fun. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Y'all have a good week. We'll see you soon.
It's the